Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Laurel Park here on Saturday. It is the 1st of October 2022. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Laurel, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes racing from Laurel, races 5 through 9. The fifth race actually featured on the program. It is the Laurel Futurity. It's going for a purse of $150,000. Race for 2-year-olds here. We have a field of a dozen horses entered, but keep in mind the 5, 9, 10, and 11 are all MTOs. They're going to the inner turf course, which is a 0-foot rail setting, 1,700 meters or a mile 16th on that Laurel turf course. 1,700 meters, a mile 16th here in the Laurel Futurity. My top selection, I'm going to go take the number 4 horse here, who is Fire Baron. 4723 for me in the superfecta. 4723 super. Top selection of 4 horse Fire Baron. Churro Colt by Temple City. Mike Maker trains. Horacio Caramanos gets the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came 10th September at Kentucky Downs. 1 mile in the main special weight for $156,000. And he finished second by 2 3/4 lengths that day. He didn't break well, which is the thing with him in his 2 offerings. He didn't break that well, but he sat back early. He slowly moved his way up. He got to the front end, but then he just kind of hit the wall. I think he just had a little bit too much to overcome. I'm wondering if he breaks, will he show some speed? Because he really closes up well. Coming here today, I know he's still maiden-facing winners, but it's not the world's toughest stakes race, and I think he could get a good trip to win. Two back, his debut came on the 13th of August, Saratoga, mile 16th on the inner and a main special weight for $105,000. He finished 5th by 7.5 lengths. He had a wide posture. I needed a break that day. He broke a step slow, was stupidly wide. He moved a tiny bit, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Like I said, I want to see him break, but his most recent workout patterns haven't been half bad. Ellis Park, 4 furlong workout 50 and 4/5 of second, 37th best workout 51. So I think he's rearing to go at 7-2. Let's use him here. To recount my selection for the 5th from Laurel, it is the Laurel Futurity. Let's take the 4 horse Fire Baron, 4723, and that's superfecta. The 6th race from Laurel, it is the Shaladon Stakes. It's going for per $75,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a very good group here of 10 horses heading to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs in the Laurel main track. 1,400 meters, 7 furlongs here in the Shaladon. My top selection, I'm going to go take the number 2 horse, Yodel Who. I'm going to go 2-6-4-1 in the superfecta. 2-6-4-1 super. Top selection 2 horse, Yodel Who. The 6-year-old gelding by Creative Cause. Jamie Ness trains. Gets Reuben Silveria up in the saddle. The horse's most recent appearance came 3 weeks ago at Delaware. 6 furlongs, optional 62, winning by 5 1/4 lengths. On the front and all throughout, he's a little bit wide, but nobody was stopping him. He really ran probably the best race of the season for him, earning a 94 buyer. Coming here to stakes quality horses, not the world's toughest race from a tracking position. I think the speed could go to his advantage here. 2 back around 27th of August at Delaware, 6 furlongs, option 62, and he won by a head. And again, he stalked, he slowly moved his way up, and he grinded it home. A very good race, earning an 89 buyer, and then a very subpar race here at Laurel, 6 furlongs, option 55. He finished 5th by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and they ran very fast that day, which very, very fast, and he just wasn't keeping up on that hot day. It wasn't his day to win. And then a Park 6.5 and a Lounge race 63,000, finishing second by a neck. He sat back early, but he couldn't catch the winner, but he didn't make it close there late, and then he closed up for nowhere to a victory at Parks on late May, going 3/4, win by half a length, earning another 94 buyer. It was a very good run. Coming here today off some decent runs, I think the old man can make it 3 in a row. Let's use him. To recount my selection for the 5th from Laurel, it is the Shaladon. Let's take the 2 horse Yodel Who, 2-6-4-1 in this superfecta, 2-6-4-1 in that super. To the 7th event now from Laurel, it is the Selima Stakes. It's going for a purse of $150,000. Race for 2-year-old fillies here. We have a field of 11 horses entered to go to the Laurel turf course. The distance of ground here of 1,700 meters, or a mile and 1/16 on the Laurel turf course. 1,700 meters, a mile 16th here in the Selima. This will be run on the outer portion of the turf course at 52-foot rail setting turf. But years ago, I'm talking years and years ago, the Laurel Futurity and the Selima used to be your big races in the fall for the 2-year-olds used to be run on the main track in a mile and eighth, and you would always see some good horses running this one years and years ago. One of the best remembered winners, who wasn't a great horse in his time, but has become probably one of the best sires of the 21st century. Tapit won this race, I believe, the last time they ran it on dirt in 2003, so that was quite cool. But my top selection here, I'm going to go with the 6-horse Private Credit, 6'10", 111 in the superfecta, 6'10", 111 super. Top selection, 6-horse Private Credit, 2-year-old filly by Into the Mischief. Chad Brown trains, Fergal Lynch gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in Jersey at Monmouth on the 2nd of September. 1 mile and a main special weight 54,000, winning by 4.5 lengths. He set the pace that day, going pedestrian fractions, and he quickened up nicely off of it. An all-around good race. Come to Laurel today, not the world's toughest race, definitely the better of the two-year-old stakes races on the program, but I think you could really get a good race to win here today. 2 back, he ran the 4th of August at Saratoga, 5.5 on the Mellon main special weight. He finished 3rd by 2.25 lengths that day. He sat back early. He moved a little bit late, but I don't think 5.5 is his preferred trip. I think he wants to go routing. He's going to get it today. His buyer's up to scratch. I'm going to use him. Don't throw out the 10-horse Delightful for Jonathan Thomas. Definitely with every single race has been improving. In late April, he ran up Keelan where he closed up a little bit late, but he had a horrible beginning. Came back to run routing at Saratoga where he ran a decent 3rd, closing up from nowhere, and then won late last month at Delaware going 7.5 very, very nicely. He's on the up and up. It wouldn't surprise me if this $400,000 purchase runs a good race. Definitely using your pick 6 wager that begins, I believe, with race 5. But keep in mind also for the Breeders' Cup races, since they've been running these races at the mile 16 trip again, particularly this one, the horses have been really running good races in the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies race out of this race. So just keep that format in your mind. But to recount my selection for the 7th from Laurel, it's the Selima Stakes. Let's take the 6-horse Private Credit. Give kudos to the 10-horse Delightful, or Delight, yes, Delight. 6'10", 111 super, 6'10" in your multi-race. To the 8th event now from Laurel, it is the Twixt Stakes. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses going to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the mile and 1/16th trip on the Laurel main track. 1,700 meters, about 1 mile and 1/16th. My top selection, I'm going to go with the number 5 horse here, the 5 horse who is coach. Let's go 5-7-6-4 in the superfecta. 5-7-6-4 super, top selection of 5 horse coach. 4-year-old filly by Commissioner. Brad Cox trains. Fergal Lynch gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came grade 3 by a co at Oaklawn, mile 16th on the 12th of February, and he finished 4th by 2.75 lengths that day. And he's basically dueling on the front end and then just completely hit the wall. It wasn't a day to win against a very, very tough horses. Off the almost 7-month refreshing coming here today, lesser quality horses, has forwardly paced to win. I'm going to use this horse here today. 2 back in the Pippin at Oaklawn on the slop, 1 mile and 8th of January. The horse won by 3, and on the front end all throughout, he really put on a show. A very good, easy run for this horse there. And then late December at Oaklawn on the mud, mile 16th and opposite 6-2. Off the long refreshing, winning by 2 lengths. Again, he was a little bit wide, but held on to a victory. Coming here today, like I said, has the forwardly pace with the quick turn going a mile 16th. I hope the horse uses the pace to get good position, and I think she could run a good race. Her early 3-year-old form last year, she was running against some tough horses and just wasn't keeping up. But and her 2-year-old form actually won the Rags to Riches at Churchill in October 2020 and finished 3rd in the Golden Rod behind Clariere and Travel Column. So she was facing tough horses. Like I said, not the world's toughest race. 2-1, let's use her. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Laurel, it is the Twixt. Let's take the 5 horse coach. 5-7-6-4 in the superfecta. The 9th race now from Laurel Park. It is the... Let's get the racing forms to the right page. Usually I'm using the iPad, but on the weekends I like buying the print version of the racing form, so I have it in my hand. Especially like a day like today, where you have basically stakes races from, here on the East Coast, 7 o'clock in the morning from Paris, from Longchamp, all the way to the end of the night with those good races from the harness races from Dayton, and also you have the Meadowlands. Hopefully, if they run with the rain coming in the forecast. Also, big question also today's program is the rain at Laurel, so hopefully it stays away. But the the ninth race from Laurel, it is the Japan Turf Cup. It's going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have 11 horses entered, but keep in mind the 2, 4, and 9 are MTOs. So we have a field here of hopefully 7 horses or 8 horses going the distance of ground of 2,400 meters or a mile and a half on the Laurel Turf course. 2,400 meters, 1 mile, 1/2. Formerly known as the Laurel Turf Cup. But my top selection, I'm going to go with the number 8 horse here, Roan. I'm going to go 8736 in the superfecta. 8736 super. Top selection, 8 horse Roan. 4-year-old Gelding by Go Zapper. Michael Dickinson trains. Fergal Lynch gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the Precious Passion at Monmouth, a mile and a half on the 10th of September, and the horse finished third by 2 3/4 lengths that day. Had a very wide post draw. He doesn't show a lot of forwardly pace, but he was closing up well late. You know, Le Imperator for Chad Brown is a decent horse, won quite nicely, but this horse placed well behind him. Coming here today, should get a good trip. I think he could really improve off that run. Back to Colonial, he ran the race prior on the 27th of July, about a mile and a half inner turf course in the Colonial Cup. He finished fourth by 2 3/4 lengths. He sat back early from an inside trip. He moved out late, and he was really closing up well behind Red Knight. Not a bad race. Keep in mind, Red Knight went on to win the Kentucky Cup Classic, or Kentucky Cup Turf Classic right after that. And then at Laurel here in late June, a mile 3/8 on the turf course, lounge race 50,000, winning by a length. He basically circled the field, quickening up nicely from the rail. A very good run. Keep in mind, those horses that coming out of those, they ran 3 mile 3/8 races here at Laurel in the early summer. A lot of those horses have been really running back to good races like this one and other ones. So the form hasn't been half bad. And then the 4th of June, he ran prior at Laurel 1 mile in the lounge race, finishing second by 2 1/4 lengths. He just wasn't really getting there. I like him over the longer trip. He's training well at the Topeka farm. Let's use him here. I think the 7 horse Beacon Hill is your second likeliest winner. Most recently the Buckland. I thought he just needed more ground there. And then before that, here at Laurel, he needed again more ground. I think slowing it down should really do him wonders. 4-1, we'll use him in that pick 6. But to recap my selection for the ninth from Laurel now. It is the Japan Turf Cup. Let's take as a top selection the 8 horse Roan. Give kudos to the 7 horse Beacon Hill. 8736 Super. 87 in your multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.